Avery, whose show is this? Hello. And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined on this fine Saturday night by you guys. I'm going to record a very quick Lakers Lounge here following the Lakers beating the Golden State Warriors. The plan for this one is to quickly recap the game, to talk about Shams Charania's latest report, which echoes a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about lately. Got to talk about Anthony Davis, and then also have to talk about Rui Hachimura missing the kind of game that you probably don't want to miss if you want to remain a Los Angeles Laker. So let's get to all of that as quickly as we possibly can, because it is Saturday night and I am not supposed to be working. All right. So let's go with the final here, 118-108. The Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco. Anthony Davis was absolutely incredible. He has been great since he basically laid down the law with Rob Pelinka and with the Lakers organization. 36 minutes for AD in this one. 13 of 23 from the field, 0 of 3 from the three-point range. I actually like the 3 number quite a bit. He's going to have to be willing to get those shots up if he is going to play a little bit more power forward moving forward. Most importantly here, and there are some important numbers on this line, but most importantly for Anthony Davis here, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. Getting to the free throw line 12 times. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. It's always one of those numbers that is really important for the Lakers. But when AD shoots like 9 or more free throws in a game, I feel like the Lakers are quite a bit better. In this one, he shot 12, made 10 of them, also grabbed 13 rebounds, 3 of the offensive variety, 3 assists, 3 steals, a block, and scored a total of 36 points, was a +9 on the night. +9, that's where plus minus kind of gets you in some trouble. Dorian Finney-Smith also made his first start as a Laker. Again, we'll talk about Rui here in a bit. He was a game high +20. Rui probably didn't want to sit this one out. LeBron was also special, 25 points, 12 boards. 25 points, 12 assists, 5 boards, a steal, and a +11 on the night. 12 of 25 from the field. Only 0 of 1 from 3-point range. He was really focused on getting the ball as close as he possibly could to the basket against this very undersized Warriors team. Austin Reeves finished the night 16 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 7 assists, 5 boards. +17 on the night, 1 of 4 from 3-point range, 3 of 3 from the line. Not enough free throws for my liking. And then also a big story here, and he remains a big story. Max looked great against Boston, and then he looked great against Golden State again tonight. He played 31 minutes in this one, 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3-point range, 11 points, 8 rebounds from your starting shooting guard. To go with an assist and just here you guys want to see what Max Christie's impact on this game was. Here's how Steph did in the second half. First half, 13 points, 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point range. Second half, 0. Nilch. You and nil, zilch, whatever you would. He scored as much as I did in the second half. 0 of 8 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3-point range. Max did a lot of that stuff. Incredible game for Max Christie, especially defensively. We're finding out this guy, like, he's entering dude territory. Like, to this point, he's been a guy. He's like pretty good. He's a guy who matters. All right. Now, like, he's entering dude category, like untouchable. This guy should not be going anywhere anytime soon type of category. Max Christie is legit, whether he's going to continue starting or if the Lakers decide to upgrade his position, it doesn't matter. Max Christie has to be a part of the rotation here moving forward. Great stuff from Max. The next biggest story here is Jarred Vanderbilt making his 2024-2025 Lakers debut. First game of the season for him. The Lakers, JJ Redick kind of told us this going into the game, that he was not necessarily going to be on a minutes restriction, but that the Lakers were going to try to ease him into it. 12 minutes for Vando here, 1 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from three-point range. Did grab 4 rebounds, did dish out a couple assists, had 3 steals, was a +6 on the night. And if this is how he looks as the Lakers kind of ease him into the game, and then if this is how Dorian Finney-Smith is going to look as the starting small forward, again, Rui, this is getting a little awkward. This is a tough spot, man. You probably didn't want to miss that game. Let's talk about Rui really quickly. My dad, all right. So quick backstory on my dad. He is a self-made, like, multi-millionaire. Now, my grandparents did pretty well for themselves too. But my dad is like, he went to Chico State and put the work in, like graduated from college as quickly as you possibly could, entered the engineering field, and worked at Rockwell for a little bit, and then it became Boeing. Applied to Broadcom one time around before the tech bubble. Wasn't hired then because they didn't think his resume was impressive enough. Worked at Rockwell, or continued working at Boeing, and then applied to Broadcom again. The second time they hired him. And I remember when he started at Broadcom, I was in high school, and he was regularly putting in like 80, 100, 120-hour weeks there at Broadcom. The thing with Broadcom, I don't know if anybody knows what this company is or who this company is, but their CEO and their CEOs over the years have always thought, like, all right, we're going to hire the absolute best people, and we are going to work their asses off, and we are going to pay them extremely well because of how stressful working for us is going to be. And Dad kind of wandered in, like signed up for that opportunity, and his like entire life outlook is based on overachievement and hard work and all of this stuff. And one of the things that my dad told me growing up, and it pertained to all walks of life, was never, ever, ever let anybody think that they could possibly be better off without you, right? It's how Jen and I have been together for 20 years, right? It's how, Vox laid me off. I'm going to go ahead and say that their podcast presence has declined since they made that decision, along with every other decision that they've made since then. It's just, when I was at Locked On Lakers, I did not miss very many days because I didn't ever want to think, when I was early enough in my career, that David could ever feel like he could replace me viably. And so on and so forth. And now here with this opportunity that I have in front of me with Odyssey, I'm going to continue to approach it the same way that my dad taught me to approach everything. And the reason I say all of this stuff is because I'm looking at Rui Hachimura. And in this one, like, you never know how much of this is the team making the decision or how much of it is a player making the decision. But going into the game, I believe the reason that Rui missed it was for like injury management or something like that. I'd have to find the specific phrasing on it. And it's the kind of thing that sounds like, it could be the team. Again, it could be the Lakers kind of saying like, hey, let's take it easy here. You have this sore calf. JJ Redick said after the game that it's a day-to-day kind of thing. Okay, it's better to be day-to-day than week to week. But the Lakers, it sounds like it could have been the Lakers being overly cautious because of how their injuries have gone over the years. And Rui doesn't seem the kind of guy to take very many days off. So to be absolutely fair to him, this might have just been out of his hands. But you probably didn't want to miss this one. The Lakers just beat the Boston Celtics the other night. They are turning the corner as far as explaining to the front office or definitively pronouncing to the front office, y'all got to invest in this roster. And the only contract that the Lakers have at their disposal to go out and get a significant upgrade anywhere is Rui's, because Jarred Vanderbilt's contract is very much, I'm told by people I kind of speak to around the league, nobody wants Jarred Vanderbilt's contract. He has played like 30 games over the last couple of years. Nobody's interested in that. Gabe Vincent has less money on his contract than Rui does. So that makes it difficult or more difficult to bring back a significant upgrade there. So it's basically just Rui. And the Lakers have their 2 first-round picks. They have a couple second-round picks as well. Plus like Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood and Jalen Hood-Schifino's expiring money and Cam Reddish as well. And like in this one, the Lakers, again, just beat the Boston Celtics the other night, beat the crap out of them. They beat the Golden State Warriors tonight. In the second half, we're clearly the better team there. Golden State's a big old mess. I'm going to talk to Sam Fondiari tomorrow on in the lounge to talk about the similar situations that the Warriors and Lakers and Steph and LeBron find themselves in. And AD, I guess, too. As they wait for both organizations to kind of invest into the situation. But if you're Rui and, you miss a game, it's one thing to miss against like the Charlotte Hornets on a Tuesday night. Nobody is watching. It's a team that they would probably beat anyway. But you can't miss the game against the Golden State Warriors on national TV as you head into the last couple of weeks before the trade deadline, especially if you're the one contract that is seen as even neutral around the NBA. So tough one, man. Like I like Rui a lot. Seems like a really good dude. The Lakers like him a lot. There's a lot to like with Rui and his game. It's just that if you're the Lakers and you now have Dorian Finney-Smith, and if you're confident that Jarred Vanderbilt is going to be healthy moving forward, plus you have LeBron, plus you have Max on the wing, and maybe if you trade Rui and you send out enough contract money to bring back like Torrey Craig to help with your wing depth, like your wings might be all right. And if you need to balance out the roster, or if you need to bring in a player good enough to play either alongside Anthony Davis or in lineups without Anthony Davis, this is the one that like I remember I played in a game my sophomore year. I went to Esperanza High School. I played I was not like the peak of my basketball career was being asked by the coach at Cal State Fullerton if I wanted to walk on, based on what he saw from me playing pickup games there in the rec there at Cal State Fullerton. Shouts to all my dudes there at the rec. So my senior year of high school, or my sophomore year of high school, We're playing against Brea. And for whatever reason, we wound up playing Brea like 5 times over the course of in the summer and then in preseason tournaments. They weren't in the same league as us at that time, but for whatever reason, we played them a ton. And it was the last time that we were going to play them because league play was right around the corner. And I was playing really well. Unfortunately, though, I played for a guy named Richard Fuji, the sophomore coach at that time, who absolutely loved the guy who played it ahead of me, named a kid named Juho, and I was outplaying Juho in that game. I still contend that I'm a better player or was a better player. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to go full Uncle Rico. But so I was playing really well in that game. But at one point I played 15 basketball minutes straight. And I came, a timeout was called and I got to the bench and I was like exhausted, like gasping for air on the sideline. And Rich looks over at me and he goes like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a little tired. Can I get like a couple minute break and then sub back in?" So Rich like subs me out. I'm not calling him coach because he wasn't very good. Rich like subs me out and I like go sit there on the bench and they go immediately on a run. But we wind up like holding on for dear life and I don't get back into the game. And my dad asked me like, "Why didn't you subbed out? Like, why didn't you get back in?" And I was like, "Well, I was really, really tired and I felt like I was gonna freaking die. I asked for a little bit of a breather." And my dad was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You know he likes that dude more than you. Like, he's a bad coach. If you give give him an excuse to be a bad coach, he's gonna be a bad coach." And so like from that point on, like the rest of my life, I've always approached shit like this, like that, like I've been talking about with Rui. And I just kind of feel like in this one, if you're Rui, you can't you can't miss that one. You can't miss this one on national TV, and you can't miss this one when Vando comes back and the wing rotation looks fine without you. And if you're the Lakers now, when the wing rotation looks fine without Rui, you got to make the decision. Like it's right there. The Lakers clearly need upgrades, whether it's at center to play alongside Anthony Davis and move him to power forward a little bit more as he would like. Whether it's in the backcourt, you would bring in a player who I'm going to make the case for here in the next segment for Dejounte Murray or Bruce Brown to upgrade your backcourt. But I don't think you need Rui. I think you're fine without him. He is too inconsistent defensively. He is not as good as he is, not as impactful as he is talented. And after this one, I think the kind of path forward here is pretty clear. All right, I'm going to. Oh, we have a couple starred comments here, so I am going to quickly answer those and then finish off the episode by narrating with a little bit of wine in my system the piece I wrote for Friday, and then I'll narrate the piece that went kind of viral going into the weekend about the center situation or the Lakers center options here moving forward. But before I get to the super comments here, we do have to play this. All right, Ryan Lucas starts us off. Fate of the world on the line. Which center does LA get? For one thing, it's really weird that the fate of the world is on the line based on my decision for who the Lakers get. I would say 51% Vucevic, 49% Jonas, and then, or like 50% chance, like 45% chance they get Vucevic, 40% chance they get Jonas, and then the remaining 15% chance can be divvied between, the other guys that I mentioned in that piece: Robert Williams, Walker Kessler, Jakob Pertl, and then like the honorable mention guys that I threw out there. Justin Tyndall writes, would the Pacers take an unprotected first for Turner? So the Pacers are in a weird spot because I don't think they're necessarily thrilled about having to extend Miles Turner. They went on that nice run in the playoffs last year, and I think they were hoping to build on it this year. And then if they didn't necessarily build on it to the extent that they were hoping, from there they would make this, their bigger decisions in the offseason. And I think that's still going to be their stance here. They're going to keep this team intact, see how they do in the postseason, and then either extend Miles Turner in the offseason or maybe try to do like a sign and trade with him in the summer. That's the look. I'm not a Pacers guy or whatever, but that seems to be the likeliest kind of path forward for that group. Whoops, wrong one. Shoot, my bad, everybody. My bad. I'll play the right one for sure this time. Dang it. I get boards for days. Can you elaborate further on why Vooch is the most likely center acquisition, but why the organization is also split on him? Well, so Jonas would probably be a Laker already if Washington entered the season willing to take 1 second rounder for Jonas, and then like in that stance open up the doors for the Lakers to kind of search elsewhere. And if for the Lakers, they're basically saying, for now, it's different in terms of the amount of contract money that you need to send out, because Vooch makes more than twice as much as Jonas does. But for the Lakers, you're like, okay, for the same amount of draft capital, albeit with a little bit more contracts that you have to send out, does it make more sense to bring in Vooch than it does Jonas? And to the best of my understanding here, that's essentially the conversation that they keep having. There are some people in the organization who really like how Vooch would fit offensively next to Davis. They think that Davis would really help Vooch be a better defensive center when Vucevic is on the court. However, there are certainly people within the organization who are like, yeah, but he's still such a disaster defensively that you're asking AD, after finally getting to a place here where Max has been a lot better at the point, on the perimeter defensively and at the point of attack, that AD doesn't have to have such a crazy lift defensively. Dorian Finney-Smith has obviously looked really good defensively. To Austin as a secondary perimeter defender is perfectly fine. And so the Lakers are like, man, we did all this work to finally arrive at a place where AD doesn't have to make up for so many people alongside him. And then to go out and get somebody like Vooch, who he would have to make up for, does that make a whole bunch of sense? So that's kind of how that internal debate is going for the Lakers. And we'll see how it turns out here moving forward. All right, I am going to I just want to like quickly scroll back up and yeah, all right. So we are good here. I'm going to really quickly read or narrate the piece that I wrote here for clutch points, and then get you guys out of here and enjoy the rest of my Saturday night. So let's go ahead and get to that. All right, so this piece here is called Lakers Trade Target. This is the second entry into this Lakers Trade Target series. I'll have more of these coming out over the next couple of weeks or week and a half or so. Dejounte Murray Pursuit Part 2. Last season, the Los Angeles Lakers and Atlanta Hawks got pretty close to agreeing to a trade that would have sent Dejounte Murray to LA. Now, a year and a trade later, Murray remains a solid fit for a Lakers team looking for athleticism, youth, and defensive toughness on the perimeter. The question once again is, will Rob Pelinka move the necessary draft capital with Austin Reeves still off the table? In this latest entry into our later Lakers trade target series, let's take a look at a player Los Angeles definitely likes and would absolutely help both in terms of talent and fit, but whose availability on the trade market is incredibly difficult to figure out. The pros. Before the Lakers traded away D'Angelo Russell, they had enough offensive firepower to stay with most teams, but struggled mightily to get stops. Now, with Dorian Finney-Smith on the roster, they've been able to get those stops more frequently, but the offense, especially when either Reeves or LeBron James, let alone both, are off the court, has taken a few steps back. Murray could start alongside Reeves as a two-headed perimeter approach with interior hubs like James and Anthony Davis in the starting group, rounded out by Finney-Smith in this case. Then when Max Christie comes in as the first sub, Reeves could go to the bench to get ready to anchor units with fewer starters. Murray is one of the few primary ball handlers strong enough on defense to also act as a primary point of attack defender, something the Lakers desperately lacked with Russell. At 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan, Murray could either guard point guards or shooting guards. Murray's defense next to Reeves, who is fine as a secondary perimeter defender, plus Finney-Smith also on the perimeter, would alleviate the colossal effort asked of Davis night in, night out. Then, in situations that call for more defense, the Lakers could even go to a Murray, Christie, Vando, Finney-Smith, and Davis lineup. This just hasn't been an option for a Lakers coach since Frank Vogel had the collection of demons that won the 2019-2020 championship. Murray is also young enough at 28 to fit Davis's timeline after James departs. Of the players out there even remotely available, Murray probably checks the most boxes based on what the Lakers need and are looking for right now. The cons. In terms of basketball, there really aren't many. Murray's three-point shooting has fallen significantly this season compared to last, but honestly, it's basically impossible to hold anything against anyone playing for the New Orleans Pelicans in this campaign. They've had so many injuries and so much turmoil that I truly don't know how to analyze anyone. More on this in a bit. If the shooting doesn't improve, that would obviously be an issue, but I think he's somewhere between the 30.2% that he shot at this year and the 36% he shot last season. He's a career 34% three-point shooter. He'll be fine, even given the scars Lakers fans carry with shooters who forgot to shoot when they got to Los Angeles. Murray's defense has slipped a little over the last couple of years, but again, a lot of that can be chalked up to the situation. Having to play next to Trae Young defensively on the perimeter seems like a nightmare. And again, New Orleans is such a disaster this year, there's no way to tell anything about anyone. The cost. Here's where things get tricky. Even before getting to what the Lakers would have to send to the Pelicans of all teams, remember, things weren't exactly hunky-dory between the two franchises during the infamous Davis negotiations. On top of that, league sources aren't necessarily sure about the extent to which New Orleans is willing to tear down what was one of the more exciting rosters in the NBA just because of a nightmare injury season. Before the year, the Pelicans sent out Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance Jr., and 2 first-round picks, plus other contracts. One of those first-round picks, by the way, is the Lakers' unprotected pick for this season. For Murray, cursed season aside, turning right around and trading him to the same Lakers organization that forcefully traded for your previous franchise player is a tough look. It's for these reasons Murray is going to cost both the first rounders the Lakers can trade with very little, if any, protection, plus Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and probably Dalton Connect, whom sources the Lakers still hold in extremely high regard despite his shooting woes the last couple of months. The likelihood. Based on current intel, it's pretty unlikely Rob Pelinka is going to use both the first rounders at his disposal this season. Now remember, I wrote this Thursday for Friday, so I do think some of that has changed over the last few days. Anyway, word to the effect has slowly made its way around the league after he didn't attach a first rounder to Russell's expiring contract to land a higher impact player than Finney Smith. It's probably no coincidence, therefore, that we recently got our first report of concern from James and Davis. Remember, I wrote this Thursday for Friday before Shams Karani's most recent reporting. So to that dude for who is like a high school editor who keeps saying, I don't know anything, shut up. Anyway, Pelinka and the rest of the organization were thrilled when Connect fell to them at 17 in last year's draft. Current shooting slump aside, that was one of the few wins the front office has enjoyed in the last couple of years. Putting Connect at risk, as well as moving 2 first-rounders they've mostly kept out of trade conversations to this point, seems exceedingly likely. But hey, if the Lakers remain in striking distance of home court for the first round all the way up to the deadline, and Vanderbilt stays healthy long enough for them to be comfortable moving Hachimura, maybe they swing big in a couple of weeks. All right. Whew, man. Narrating live is pretty terrifying. That is going to do it here for this episode. That would do it for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. I will be right back in the lounge tomorrow again with Sam of the Light Years podcast. Looking forward to that conversation with him as he and I will get ready to kind of rant and rave about 2 of the more frustrating organizations, I think, in the league. So keep an eye out for that. That will probably run Sunday evening after the football games. I'm going to record that Sunday morning and then fire it up Sunday evening after the football game. So keep an eye out on that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all of that good stuff. But the biggest story here, the Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco, 118-108. Fun show here, fun game there. Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.